Hey everyone, the Super Vader 400 here, back for another retro review, and this time I'm reviewing Season 1 of the X-Men animated series. I'm a huge fan of the X-Men franchise, and the X-Men comics are actually one of my favorite comic book series. Of course, I got into the X-Men animated series in the mid-90s, and I must say, after watching it again here, Season 1, this show is awesome. Strong writing, awesome story, superb animation despite the obvious budget. But but yeah, I like this show. This is season 1. Season 1 was so awesome. This is the season I actually watched the most. I've never ever watched the X-Men episodes. I've never seen the X-Men episodes in any particular order until rather recently. But after watching See I Love season 1, of course, when the show opens up, the lineup is Cyclops, Professor X, Cyclops, Jean Grey, Rogue, Gambit, Storm, and Wolverine. Jubilee joins them in the first episode. When her parents send her to Charles Xavier's school for gifted mutants after she does something to the VCR with her new energy powers. She later gets targeted by one of the deadly Sentinels, and I think she is saved by Storm and Rogue, and she's brought to Professor X's house, and she joins the X-Men. Then I also like how they brought in, I think, a character, Morph. Yeah, he was an X-Men. He was part of the lineup up until he went missing in action when he presumably got killed. That was an awesome emotional episode. Um then there was the episode where Magneto, where Beast was in jail, and Magneto made his awesome debut by trying to break Beast out of jail. Then you had this awesome confrontation with Magneto and Professor X, where Professor X did this this mind move where he made Magneto see the past, and Magneto was like, no, it was an awesome dramatic moment. And then of course Sabretooth, where they left Jubilee at the house alone with Sabretooth, and Wolverine came back and fought Sabretooth, his mortal enemy. His mortal enemy. Then so many arcs. They so many arcs. They what's his name? Then another awesome episode was when Cyclops and Jean Grey went out. A group of sewer dwellers called the Morlocks kidnapped them, and Storm, at the end of the episode, fought the leader in a lightsaber duel for the X-Men's freedom. Just another awesome episode. Then another awesome episode was The Unstoppable Juggernaut, which featured the debut of the Juggernaut character, Charles Xavier's stepbrother. And this episode also featured the debut and one of the only appearances of Colossus, who I consider to be a criminally underrated X-Men. You can see him falling from the building right here on the picture on the DVD cover of season 1. And then there was then of course, oh yes, a storyline from the comic, Days of the Future Past. They adapted that comic book storyline into this series, where a time traveling mutant named Bishop comes from the past. Comes from a future where all the mutants are dead, and he comes back to the past to stop some plague. I love the plot twist here. After causing several problems in the past, Rogue gets fed up and sends him back to his own time. And then, well, before that happens, he thinks Gambit is the assassin, but it turns out Mystique was the assassin. She changed into Gambit and assassinated the president, which appeared to have caused this huge hatred and prejudice for mutants and led to that dystopia post-apocalyptic future Bishop comes from. But it was a plot twist in the end. It was an awesome plot twist. Professor X says, I don't think the cure is the cause. I don't think the plague is the cause of this, or what you call John F. Kennedy's assassination. I mean, the senator's assassination. And then Cyclops says, why? Because my watch is stopped. And then the watch becomes magnetized to his chair, sticks to his chair. Then Magneto, in an awesome fashion, kidnaps the senator, tries to kill him, but I think a Sentinel inadvertently ends up rescuing him. Magneto, and after a long battle, Magneto and Professor X barely kill the head Sentinel by Professor X attempting to do a suicide mission by loading a ship full of dynamite and flying it until the head senator, thus sacrificing himself. But Magneto saves him. And that ends the first arc. Another episode before this one was The Cure, which featured the debut of Mystique. Not only Mystique, who poses an old man giving people the cure, but the cure was really meant to make people slaves of Apocalypse, make them hate mutant and humankind. And it also featured the debut of Apocalypse, one of the most powerful characters in the X-Men franchise and Marvel franchise in general. They made Angel. Angel, who went to accept the cure. Apocalypse made him into a slave, and the X-Men had an all-out battle with Apocalypse. And his acolytes, as he calls them. Just an awesome season. This was an awesome season. My least favorite episode. It was a good episode. It was my least favorite, and that's this episode where the mutants were forced to work on a slave plantation. That was my least favorite episode. Also, this season was awesome. It was also cool seeing other awesome characters like Blob, Avalanche, Pyro. Yeah. And I forgot Beast 2. Beast 2, of course, made his debut in episode 3, which is when Magneto also made his debut. Just an awesome animated series. I'm going to review season 2 next.